Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, the tequila made me do it again. Mas Agave Clasica Prickly Pear is a 9.7% tequila barrel-aged Imperial Gose from Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It used to be that Founders had a few barrel-aged releases every year, and now they have a few that are every year and they're all year round. I've just kind of lost count as to which release number this one would be. But regardless, this is Mas Agave Clasica, which for us regular folks is just a regular old Mas Agave. They added Clasica to it. They're tequila barrel-aged Imperial Gose, and this year the new flavor is Prickly Pear. Now, if you don't live near a desert like me, a prickly pear is a cactus fruit. Now, I don't know if I've ever even had a prickly pear, but there's a first time for everything. So let's get it on. We'll get a look at what's on the label. We'll get it into a glass. But first, I'd like to thank my executive producers, Eric Latowski, Brian Kramer, and Zach for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/draft_therapy, where you can get early access to these videos, exclusive patron-only live streams, and a few other special perks available only to patrons. So let's take a look at the label. What's changed? Okay, what's changed is, what's the same is on the top it says Founders Brewing Company. On the very neck of the bottle, like all the Founders bottles and labels have, it says Barrel Age Series on the top left, Founders, and then a pinkish and white colored gradient label, just copying the same label that they've had on the Mas Agave Grapefruit, the Mas Agave Lime. This one says Mas Agave Clasica, which is new this year. Again, last year it said Mas Agave, no Clasica. Prickly Pear, a skeletal arm and hand holding up a prickly pear, this time with a monarch butterfly flying towards it. Has some flowers type streamers going across the top. In the background, there's all these little prickly pears all over the place. And on the bottom, it says Imperial Gose style ale brewed with agave and sea salt, aged in tequila barrels with added prickly pear extract. So they're telling you right here on the label, this does not have actual prickly pear, but prickly pear extract. On the side it says net contents 12 fluid ounces. On the other side, Founders Brewing Company, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49503. On the back, if we turn it around on the top left, it has 9.7% alcohol by volume. On the right side, it says this is a 2021 release, and it says Founders Mas Agave Clasica, an oasis of flavor in the desert of normalcy. This cocktail-inspired Imperial Gose is brewed with agave and sea salt, then aged in tequila barrels. When it emerges, we hit it with a healthy dose of prickly pear extract, lending the liquid its flamboyant fuchsia glow and mellowing out the tangy tartness with hints of berry and melon. It's no mirage, it's the real deal. Mas Agave Clasica Prickly Pear. This was bottled on March 25th, 2021. It is nearing the end of April that I'm recording this. So this just hit shelves like 2 days ago. It was bottled about a month ago. So yeah, that's what we got. On the top, we have the gold Founders cap. So I think it's just kind of interesting. I'm going to use a tulip style glass, or a snifter style glass rather. I find it interesting that they kind of spell out that this is a extract just right off the bat. They're not making any kind, not even trying to fool you and say, no, we used real prickly pear. They used prickly pear extract. And I don't know what prickly pear tastes like because I've never had one. So that really probably doesn't make much of a difference, but we'll be able to see here, won't we? And just to mention, we have the barrel aged on the inside of the cap, as with all of the barrel-aged Founders beers. Let's put a nose on the bottle. It smells very sweet. Wow, yeah. Like, just as soon as I opened it, I smelled the sweetness, but holding it up, it smells like candied berry almost. Let's go ahead and pour it. It's coming out pretty pink. Pretty in pink. We're going to pour it here. The head itself is actually a pretty pink color as well. It is a bit of it. It almost looks like, sometimes like Belgian triples are kind of this color. It almost looks like that. We've got about a finger and a half worth of head. As you can see from the overhead, the bubbles are very tight, compact. There are a few kind of larger bursting, bubbles, and more where the stream goes in, the bubbles are a little bit larger. But let's go ahead and hold it up to the light here. And that's pretty transparent. There's not a lot of haziness on there. A lot of carbonation rising up from the bottom to the top. Let's put a better nose on the glass here. Yeah, now it has a bit of a more of a melon kind of aroma, but I can also smell a little bit of like an alcohol, like an estery alcohol kind of vibe going on. But yeah, a lot of a melon, very much a berry aroma in there as well. So let's go ahead and try it out and see what kind of fruity flavors we get out of this. Cheers. So to start off, the mouthfeel, as with all the Mas Agaves, if you've had a Mas Agave before, you know that these have a little bit of a thicker mouthfeel. They are a little bit heavier. They are very deceptive. Like looking at it, it doesn't look so much like it's going to be really thick, but you get it. You get that first swig in your mouth, and the mouthfeel is a little bit on that heavier, syrupy kind of side. Makes you pucker a little bit because that tequila comes in, a little bit of that tequila flavor comes in. It's not overpowering, it's more on the finish. It has that tart saltiness to it as well, which I really enjoy on the Mas Agave. It's a nice change of pace. With Goses, you get a little bit of saltiness anyways, but with having the tequila in there, it really kind of salts it up a little bit more. You get a little more of that salty, puckery kind of flavor. And the actual sweetness that comes through, it is actually pretty sweet. It's balanced, very well balanced with that sweetness, has that tartness, that saltiness, that puckery kind of tequila saltiness in there as well. But I do taste a lot of berry. It's a very berry kind of flavor. It doesn't, like I said, for being an extract, sometimes with extracts, if you use too much, you can really start to get an artificial flavor to it. Again, I've never had a prickly pear on its own, so I don't know how this would be versus an actual like Imperial Gose aged with actual prickly pear rather than extract, but it doesn't have a flavor that tastes artificial to me. I get a lot of a berry flavor out of it. I do get a bit of a melon. It's almost like one of those beers, besides the sweetness, the fruitiness that I'm getting out of this it's one of those beers that when you smell it, it actually tastes like that. I'm getting a lot of a berry flavor out of it. I'm getting quite a bit of a little bit of a melon out of it as well. But then I didn't really smell much of the tartness. Obviously, you don't smell. I didn't smell much tequila characteristic or tequila barrel characteristic in this at all. But the flavor definitely has that in it because, again, if you've had a Mas Agave, it just kind of has that flavor to it. For 9.7%, like I said, it has that little bit of an estery, alcohol-y kind of flavor on the tail end, on the finish. 9.7%, I wouldn't be super surprised if someone set one of these down and said, try this out. I tried it, and just like blindly tasting it, if someone told me it was 9.7%, I wouldn't be really that surprised. The older Mas Agave last year, I think, was 9.7%. The year before, I believe, the original lime flavor was 10%. So, it kind of has that flavor to it, but this is actually really good. I look forward to it, and you should look forward to a head-to-head video that I'm going to do with all 3 different Mas Agaves. I'll pick my favorite. It'll probably be the next video that you see after this one. So I'm looking forward to trying them all out because every time I have one, I always say, wow, this is really good. Like this, I think 2 years ago, Mas Agave, the original, was one of my top 10s of the year. So it's just it's an interesting flavor, and I like to see that Founders is putting out these different varieties of them. Putting out a new flavor every year, that's really intriguing to me. It makes me curious. It makes me want to go out and try it every year when they have a new one. I like it when they do the KBS and they do these different variants, and I think they do the variants actually very well. I think they do a good job on that. And I think if you're a Mas Agave fan, just in general, I haven't had the seltzers, but if you've had the seltzers, the Mas Agave seltzers, and you like those, maybe tell me about that and tell me, what your opinion is between the two of them. But I think if you're a Mas Agave fan, you're going to like this one too. It's a little bit more of a changer upper, it's a little bit more of a sweeter Mas Agave, where last year it was more of a grapefruit. It wasn't more of a grapefruit, it was a grapefruit Mas Agave. So I'm sure that, they kind of change every year. And I think it's interesting to see that. If you're a Mas Agave fan, you know that you'll like this. If you're not a Mas Agave fan, or if you haven't had one before, but you like margaritas, you like kind of that tequila flavor, I'm a big tequila fan, you'll like this one as well, and you should go pick this one up. All right, friends, that has been Mas Agave Clasica Prickly Pear from Founders. Have you had this beer? Do you have any thoughts on the barrel-aged lineup this year? Do you like that they have year-round ones? Do you like it when it was more of a surprise? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell because I'm here talking about beer twice a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays is all for free for viewers just like you. and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for stopping by. Cheers.